How you doing, folks? Today's my first video I've ever posted, but this is a video for the Aquabot. Let me zoom in here for you. Aquabot Industrial Z. I do believe there are other options out there, newer options. I got this at the end of last year for a pretty good price, and wanted to post a little video to show a little bit about how it works. I've been pretty impressed with it so far. If you can see my pool here, hopefully a lot of this is coming out, but you'll see a lot of sediment, especially if we look down the cracks here. You can see my shadow. It's a nice sunny day. The deep end there, you'll see a lot of sediment across the bottom. And just going to post a video about how this thing works and the results afterwards. Hopefully you'll see a difference. The reason I like the Aquabot is couple-fold. You know, it saves me time. I throw it in usually before work, and it continuously works for 6 or 7 hours, unlike myself, and will clean even up the slant here a little bit. It'll come up the slant, not necessarily straight up the side, but it'll come up the 45-degree and get all that. So you do have to do a little bit of sweeping, possibly, if you have any algae on the side. Another thing I like about it, and when you see it in action, you'll notice, is that the pressure of the water being sucked in shoots out the top, and that helps move my water around a little bit more as well. So if I have any leaves like this one floating in the pool that's just kind of hanging out and not getting pushed to a filter, the Aquabot, when moving through the shallow end and any areas that aren't really getting water moved around that great, just the sheer force of the water being sucked through it and shot out the top helps move around some of that debris that sits there. So I'm going to pause this video and hopefully come back and show you the video in action. Okay, I'm back. So if you look here, you will see the filter bag that just pops out, and you can easily rinse it out, get the leaves and things out that are collected. Usually I empty out the leaves and debris, pine needles, things like that, and then I use a little bucket to rinse out the algae that might be stuck in the filter bag. So then you also have yourself an outlet, a plug source, power source there. So you'll see, you just kind of throw the Aquabot in, and you got to let the air bubbles out, otherwise it might not suction or adhere to the pool that great. So I usually just hold it by the handle, work it around a little bit, try to get all the bubbles out that I can, so that it does its job. And so you pretty much just let it go down. And you add the cord to the pool. Try to just leave any kink out of it. It's kind of a non-kink cord to a degree, but I just try to straighten it out a little bit in the pool. From what I understand with the robot is, over those 6 hours it kind of learns your pool, where it's gone, where it hasn't gone, and usually covers, I would say, about 90-95% of the pool. So we're going to check back and look at the debris. It even climbs up my stairs a little bit and goes across the stairs, and you might look out and say, well, it's not going in a perfect line, or it's going zigzag, or, you know, it already did that spot. Well, that's okay, because you got to think about it going for 5 or 6 hours, 6 or 7 hours. I don't really know how long it works, but you know, it does save you time and effort and a lot of aggravation. You know, especially after a big storm, and leaves, pine trees and whatnot get dropped down. Instead of hooking up the vacuum like I was doing last year, vacuuming out would seem to be like every day. I just kind of throw this bad boy in, let it do its job. But so we just come over here, we plug in the end here, and turn on the power source. Get the rest of the cord in the water. And as you can see, hopefully it's starting to do its job. It actually just worked its way right to the slant. And sometimes it'll come directly up the slant, sometimes it'll go all the way across the slant of the pool, which also works out nicely. So I'm not going to sit here and show you this whole cleaning the whole time, but I will try to pause it and show you the end result, or at least upload another video of the before and after, what it will look like. But as you can see, as it's getting closer to the surface, you'll see it's really working up some of the water there, and that's really noticeable when it's in the shallow end. When it's shooting straight up in the air, it really works the water around in the shallow end on top, which is good as well for me. But just because the way my outlets are, the returns here, and the way it moves the water around, it does have a little bit of dead spots in some places. So, you know, kind of a second feature of this is the way it moves the water around for me. But as you can see, it's doing its job, and I will pause it and check back later. Alright, so here's an example of the Aquabot Industrial Z Junior in action. As I mentioned in my other video, when it's in the shallow end, it really works the water around. Just kind of a byproduct of the way that it functions. As you can see, it's just working its way up on the step right now. It may just go straight and go right back down. Sometimes it'll turn and go the length way on the step, but as you can see, it definitely works its way around the pool. So I'm going to shut it down again and add a third video, kind of showing the final product a few hours from now. Hopefully it'll still be sunny so we can see. But definitely like the product. You know, my wife and I just had our first child, and it saves me some time of just throwing in and able to do other things around the house, around the yard, and it works while I'm at work, so that's been helpful. I know pools can be a lot to take care of sometimes, and that's the downfall. See, it's working right up the side right there until it hits the edge of the water, and it's going to work its way back down. So this model does kind of go up to 90 degree a little bit, maybe not as high as some of the more expensive models that could technically go all the way up the side of your pool. But yeah, you know, you want to enjoy your pool, not be working on it all the time. So usually I just throw this in the morning, come home, pull it out of the water, empty it, and I can enjoy the pool. Okay, so here's the follow-up to the video. Last night it started to get a little dark, so I turned it off and just put it back in today. But as you can see, much cleaner. I'll give you a little show of the deep end. It's climbing the wall over there right now, but this is what the deep end looks like. If there is sediment, I can see a little bit of sediment maybe, or algae in any of the creases there. It's nothing more than maybe a 10-second brush to the skimmer at the bottom, but the wind's picking up here, so I hope you can hear me. And then off into the shallow end, you can see it looks much better. Here's an example of the stairs. Hopefully you can see a little bit of algae still on the sides, on the steps there, but obviously it's not going to get that, and it'll take, you know, maybe a few minutes or a couple seconds to brush that up, and if I get in the pool I can just wipe it down. So overall great. Like I said, it does about 95% of the pool, and the rest you can do with just a couple brush strokes, but you don't have to hook up the vacuum and do all that jazz from before. So I hope this worked out for you. I do enjoy the product. I don't work for the company or anything, but I bought this last year, like I said, at the end of the year, at the end of the season, for a pretty discounted price, and it seemed like a lot at the time, but I have used it a lot this year, and it saved me some time and energy that I could spend with the family, and not feel like I had to clean my pool all day long more than I got to use it. So hope it worked out for you, and I will see what the comments say.